one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Mr. Bittner is going to be a little late. Aaron Harrison and Julie McNabb will not be here. We start tonight with the budget hearing, which will last as long as it takes all the people out there to question us on the budget, I guess. But I'm going to read, normally Mrs. Runster would read this, but she's not she's somewhat ill. And we're lucky she's here, actually. The budget hearing is held in order to comply with Ohio Revised Code 5705. The village prepares and adopts the budget annually to submit to the County Budget Commission before July 15 each year. The budget outlines estimated revenues from various sources, including property tax, income tax, and other sources. It also includes a preliminary estimate of expenditures for the upcoming fiscal year. The 2026 revenues in the general fund are expected to remain steady around 1.4 million per year. Westfield Group has informed us that that employees expected to come back to the office have already done so. Also, sewer rates are expected to remain steady, bringing in around 340,000 per year. Any excess in sewer revenue is retained for sewer plant upgrades. A temporary appropriations will be passed closer to the end of the final year appropriations submitted after the capital meetings project. And so we'll just wait a few minutes while everybody asks us about the, it's a budget hearing. Anybody have any questions about the budget for the village?
I asked Debbie for a clarification on the fund balance as a 1-1, given the discrepancy with prior years. Debbie, would you mind providing explanation of the rest of the council? I think that would be a benefit.
Oh, and you were referring to 1/1/26.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it looks like it's a little low because the full appropriation is still taken into account in this report. So the full appropriation for 2025 is taken into account, not the actual cash expenses. So that's why it seems like it's a little low. I'm sure we will not spend all the money that we appropriated for the year. We never do.
I need to give this a few minutes in case somebody comes in and wants to address us. It's awful quiet in here, so I think I'm going to adjourn the budget hearing. And before we move into the council meeting, I would like to introduce Melissa Kurtz, who came tonight to meet everybody. She's our soon-to-be fiscal officer. She's starting in late August, working with Debbie and take over completely February 6th. So, well, after February 6th, right after February 6th.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome. Appreciate you coming tonight. This won't be the longest meeting we ever had, and there'll be a chance here at the end that maybe a few of the people could get to know you a little bit. Okay,
Sounds
Melissa?
good. All right.
Okay. All right, moving into the regular meeting, can I have a motion to, excuse me, guests. The guest who was supposed to speak is not here. Anybody want to address council tonight? All right, I want you two guys back there to introduce yourselves and tell council what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everybody. I'm Brandon Sigraves. I am a government relations specialist with Westfield Insurance, Westfield Group. I interact with multiple government agencies, including the Westfield Center Village Council, as well as the state of Ohio and 17 different states. As well as our federal representation in Washington, DC as well. Happy to be here. It's the first time I've been here. I've been at Westfield for a year, but I've had conflicts every village council meeting since. So I'm happy to be here, happy to introduce myself to each and every one of you afterward, and good to be here.
Hi, my name is Ian, and I'm Brandon's intern. I have been here for 5 weeks or so. Work for Westfield. I'm a junior at the University of Akron studying political science with a minor in security studies, and just happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming tonight, both of you. Okay, no other comments from the floor. Can I have a motion to accept the council minutes from June 3rd? Any questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? A motion to pay the bills? Any additions or corrections, Debbie? Any questions for anybody on the bills? All those in favor? Any opposed? The BPA bills are there for your information. If you have any questions, you can could ask Debbie after the meeting. Item 4, acceptance of the fiscal officer's monthly financial reports. Can I have a motion in a second? Questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? Moving into old business, I have on there the speeding on Smucker, the emails back and forth with Nick Everett. He had said he would be here tonight. I gave him a copy of the police chief's 2-page addressing the situation and the what he had in the backs of it, so that he would be ready to ask his questions. Not here, so we just move on. You read the chief's comments. Do you have any questions for him on it? I mean, I think he's got that in hand. Okay. All right.
Research on that. Yeah, nice piece of work.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. New business, will adopt the 2026 budget, which is attached. Motion is second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 2, Troop 454 is looking, there's an attachment in there for a project, some type of continuing project, something they could do for the village, and they could come back each year and do it. I have no clue as to what that might be, but if some of you put some thought to it, maybe we can come up with something for them. When they offer to help, it'd be nice to take them up on it.
Is there anything we could do? I know we're limited on what we can do, but with our new property that we have acquired with possibly building some of those natural type trails or anything like that, I mean, that could be an ongoing thing, just not only to create them, but then to maintain them and stuff like that.
Yes, because we
I
have
don't
the
know what that-
okay to
what
put
that
trails
looks
in
like,
there,
but-
but I think we've got to get some permission from the chief's son about about just how to go about that. We won't just start cutting through.
No, right,
But yeah, that's, that idea is real merit, yeah.
I think the other thing is the invasive species thing. I mean, there could be buckthorn in there and other plant species that we might want to remove for the betterment of the parcel. Since they refer to removal of invasive species specifically in the conservation efforts that they would undertake. I think that's something we should explore further.
Yeah, are we in a kind of an agreement, make a contact with them and tell them us what we have in mind, and then they can work directly with Mr. Priest's son at the Conservancy and make that happen.
Does Dave, do you have any insight into, I mean, something that your guys are doing that would be,
On that property there, we aren't doing anything.
well, no, I just mean anything. I mean, my first reaction was,
So not on a
could we
repeat.
help them? I mean, could they help us rake leaves, not rake leaves, but, you know, work on, off a pile or something like that, but we probably don't want them on the end by the vac or anything like that either, right? So, I mean, there's a balance to where we can put them.
Good idea.
well, plus they're gonna be limited because when they start, I mean, unless they're doing it in the summer, we're not raking leaves in the summer.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be doing it on the weekends or maybe even after school or whatever, so.
And they may look for some cooperation from us with Dave for some equipment to have his guy there to do some this or that to help them. Which we could do that too.
I think the invasive species in our park area may be the key.
Yeah, we would just need Conservancy to identify those. I know I can't, maybe you can.
Oh.
I can't. Poison ivy, that I can, but beyond that, no.
Not so good. I get it all the time. I must not know what it is.
Okay, I'll make the contact back. Anybody else have any older new business?
So Terry and I met with the Dohertys last 2 weeks ago. And they were, they came to us about the park up, the big park and the play area and stuff like that. And, they had some ideas about some possible additions to enhance the park. And we're actually looking at possibly making some sort of a donation to the village to help with those efforts. And the way we left it was we were going to explore some different options. They were going to look at some different things. They made some references to some things that were over in the Wadsworth parks. I guess I haven't really visited the Wadsworth Park, but after going on the Wadsworth website, their parks are pretty nice. So, we said that we would, kind of look at them and stuff like that. And they didn't come up with a dollar figure or anything like that. They said they'd like to be part of a plan, and this could be something that could be something that could be ongoing and different things.
Is that something Val and Terry would want to make a contact with them?
Yeah.
To see what they have in
Yes,
mind
definitely.
and meet and see what you can, what's reasonable, you
Well,
know?
and that's what we did last week, 2 weeks ago.
Oh, you
We
did?
met with Stephanie and
Terry and I met, but then I said, we've got a current meeting that Terry and Val.
they got some thoughts too regarding, I will refer to as creativity regarding purchasing if there's something. So we may have to discuss that too.
I'd suggest you have a meeting, come up with some options. Yeah.
So
And, keeping in mind that we're trying to limit how much we do with them, but if they're gonna, maybe would match whatever we would throw in, that we could get double done what where otherwise might.
They were interested to see how interested we were as a body to, you know, to take this to the next step. So after meeting with Rick and I, that's why Rick brought it up today.
Well, we certainly are. What's held us up is
Funding.
since the COVID, yeah. So I know Val had, and you two had come up with some things that I heard about, but you know, we never got here with it because I didn't go ask him because I knew we weren't ready to spend a lot of money on that right now. But yeah. Come back in another month or so with something and we'll see we get going. Be good.
You don't have any grants or anything out there.
For parks?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot out there. I mean, you have to have a master plan completed. I know you guys did one 6 or 7 years ago. It probably has to be updated. But we have planning in park. It's on staff that I can always bring to a park meeting if you guys had specifics you wanted to talk about. Because I know we worked with Chippewa Lake and we worked with Wadsworth on theirs.
I did not realize how nice Wadsworth Park.
Till I went on the website.
Hey, Kevin, did you find out how much that was? I know you were gonna make.
Oh. Can't imagine.
I think it was the OHM that worked with us to
Yeah, we did
develop
that.
the plan that we have up there that we've used.
Do we have a phase 3 in the park for any additional?
I think you fulfilled your master plan.
You do not.
It needs to be updated, which
The
is.
next step of the master plan would be looking at the expansion of the existing walking trail through the new 46 acres. And to do that, we would need to get Jacob Prees involved to give us a little guidance on how to lay that out. We would probably need help from Dave and from you as well, the engineers in laying that out. We do have the ability to remove trees for the purpose of an improved trail. So the prohibition against removing vegetation from that ground is there's an exception for making trails. So
Yeah.
so we could, you know, obviously the spirit of the conservation easement is to leave the ground as undisturbed as possible. But
Okay, well, this is I would say either additional, their thoughts are additional playground or expansion of existing.
That's what they're looking at.
Yeah.
so we should work that into the same master
So-
plan.
Because phase 3, as I recall, out of extent was to extend over into the other part of park where there's nothing's done. The old ball fields, put the tractor walk around it. Now to hook into the 43 acres and tie that whole thing together. Finish that walkway onto Grant Drive that's stone. That all will be part of phase 3, I would think.
Okay.
Okay. Any other old or new business?
So we need to keep that whole business.
I'll bring it back on old business. When they bring it back, we'll hit it on the old business, yes. And you're gonna work with him to get you some money, which he's pretty good at. Okay. All right. Engineers report.
I just have an update, kind of an update on the Greenwich Road sidewalk. The real estate company said they were going to start reaching out to owners mid-July. If they haven't already, I don't know, but they said they were finalizing their paperwork. They have? Okay, then they've started reaching out. They said July is July. OPWC applications are gonna be, they haven't been released yet, but they're usually the end of August or September, so I'm gonna reapply for this project. If you remember, we applied last year, but we were denied, so I'm gonna reduce the ask a little bit, try to score a little higher. So I'll work with Debbie on the numbers and next council meeting, we're gonna have resolution passed to apply for this year's, like we have last year's stuff. I'll work with you guys on that.
So we have 780.
You have 780 in the grant right now, yes.
And we're looking for another 250.
I asked for 230 last year and was denied, so maybe 180, something around there. I'll have to run all the numbers and see where we're tipped, because there's always a cutoff of points, excuse me, with percentages and numbers. See where we're at. But I'll try to give myself another extra 1 or 2 points than last year.
Don't be afraid to knock it back so we get some.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we'll figure something out. But yeah, so next council meeting on the agenda, we'll have to have you guys pass the permission to apply thing. And then I think that's all I have. Once the easement's clear, we can begin clearing the land on October 1st, and we're still shooting for a March 31st start date on that slope stabilization.
Just to clarify, Debbie's budget that we approved has, we did not get that correct. Okay, just to clarify, yes, that's built into the budget in case we don't get
I
that.
understand that.
So,
Because if we don't do it, we're not gonna get the 780. Right.
Yeah, we get to
we get
780.
the 780.
We get to
Well,
780.
I mean,
Yeah.
780, but we won't get the. Engineer clarified something for me before the meeting. I thought when we run that slope, we were taking property. And we're not taking it and keeping it, and we're not giving it back. We're gonna have dirt on their property is what it's.
Yeah, it's called a slope easement.
It's semantics. We are taking it, but we're
Well,
not taking
you're
it.
not, no, they're still paying taxes on it. It's still, they're not changing any acreage on their ownership. It's just,
Yeah, just that we got some.
It's an
we
easement.
have a slope easement, so we're allowed to go in and adjust or alter the elevation in order to keep the road from foot failing. So that's, just gives us permission to go in there and do some grading, as needed. But they still,
When we did, that worked on South Road on Capitosta's property, we took his property, we went in, did it, and then we gave him all his property back the way it was with some trees on it,
Okay.
that won't exactly be the case this time.
now, we're giving it back, but it's gonna be different. Yeah, it's gonna be stabilized slope. Yeah, it's gonna be, I think it'll be nicer, I think. But it is an easement, so at any time, should something fail, we can, yeah, we can go back and fix it without,
instead
we don't own.
of an easement where you go down the road and everybody's got 15 feet into your, it's a village easement, but everybody mows their grass in there and
This is an
takes
easement
care of the sidewalk.
specific to this.
This
Yeah.
is gonna go in, let's say, another 20 feet in some areas.
Can only access it to adjust the slope or the, cut fill of the land. That's all we can do. We can't put things in there or, it's not a utility easement. We can't run a gas line down it. It's a slope easement only.
The point is, they lose the use of some property.
I don't know if you really, it's still theirs. You can't build a house on it.
The topography is gonna be different.
But it's just changing the topo.
Now.
Yeah, they're still gonna mow it. If you mow it now, when they're done, you're gonna still have to mow it.
Well, there's lots up near 224 that include 224 in the acreage, but they don't exactly have 224 to use. So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
All right, I'm clear.
Clearly.
I'm clear.
Maybe it'd be
Finally.
good is there a packet that,
Can we plant the slope easement?
that we could,
I probably could find something from ODOT, yeah. They do it all the time, with their highways.
I just meant that,
Maybe I could find you something there.
Like what?
I'll be okay.
all right,
I'll be okay.
I'll share.
I understand now. All right, let's get the police report before I look any worse.
Few things that went on in June, I met with the fire chief and the assistant fire chief up there. We went over the equipment and the cruisers, including the AED. Westfield Fire was nice enough to make sure that all the equipment in the first responders bags were up to date, and they both had the same equipment in there. The AEDs, we found both cars, the batteries were shot in both AEDs. Those batteries have been ordered and replaced and the cars are active. So the AEDs in the cars are working properly. Fire extinguishers also were checked and are working properly. I appreciate the chief's help on that. That was greatly appreciated. You guys got my speed report for Smucker. I'm not by any means discounting their speeders in the village on every road, and we'll work to slow people down. The one thing that I've since I've been here, the short time I've been here, we've had 3 pursuits that have come very close to this village. This is very concerning to me because and don't take this the wrong way, this is a golf cart village. There's golf carts on the road in this village, and there's golf carts that use Greenwich Road to go to the golf course. If I have a pursuit coming through here, even if it's terminated before it comes in the village, that person's more than likely not gonna slow down. I felt very helpless on the last one where they came very close to the village, and I had no means of stopping or slowing people down. Therefore, I have went ahead and purchased stop sticks, which are tire deflation devices to put in the patrol cars, hopefully to get out in front of the village before they get here and deflate tires, so it would at least slow them down to the point that they could be caught. Gonna work harder. I want to also work on some other techniques that to make sure that the village is safe. The new car update, the car is here. It's in the garage, it's in the maintenance garage over on Leroy. Both Medina Signs, who's gonna stripe the car, and Hall Public Safety, who's gonna outfit the car, both know it's here. Both have been updated that it's here and it's ready for them at any point. Halls is waiting for some equipment to come in that they've ordered. Medina Signs should be either this week or at the latest next week. They should be here to stripe the car. The car will be very similar to what the old car was, with just a couple modifications to that. Nothing that I think anybody would see, maybe the cloverleaf colt on the back. And there's gonna be a number on top. Other than that, I think it's gonna be pretty much the same. We got the radars were calibrated, the laser gun and the 2 radars in the cruisers were both, their certifications were both done this month, to ensure that we don't run any problems there. I began working on the update of the surveillance cameras. I don't really have anything to report with that. I'd like some more time with that. To look at a few different aspects, but I started looking at that recently. The June statistics reports, we had 19 calls for service. One of those was officer initiated, and 2 of those resulted in a report being made. No traffic crashes in June. Citizens assist the Citizens Assist officers generated, which is your extra patrols and your business checks, 116. Vacation watches were 34. Assist to other agencies, we assisted Westfield Fire and EMS 15. The Sheriff's Office on nine calls, Ville 1, Lodi 2, and other agencies, which was alternative paths 1. We had 18 traffic stops in June. We did not issue any citations. We had 18 verbal warnings. I think that.
Traffic stops are double what they've been over prior months, and I'm assuming that's a result of your diligence and not having to do any other external influences. Is that?
There's no external influence. I to be perfectly honest with you, at the sheriff's office, I was very traffic oriented. And I believe that visibility is a very important aspect. I'm not a big ticket writer. I will write a ticket when I believe somebody needs or there's a reason to give a ticket. I've given one ticket in the village so far. You know, if, again, just give you an example, sir, if I stopped a young lady on Schmucker Drive for speeding. And I gave her a warning, even though we've had some issues there, but I gave her a warning. If I catch her again on Schmucker Drive, then obviously she's gonna have to probably end up getting a citation for that. But I believe visibility and just being out there is a really good deterrent for speeders, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Well, I think that type of visibility is what's gonna solve the problem on Smucker more so than trying to implement any other types of initiatives. So I applaud you for the level of activity, and it's nice to see.
Yes, sir.
I have a question, just because I've been asked it a lot over the past few days. There's a woman who is in a wheelchair that is going up and down Greenwich.
Yes.
And people are afraid that when she's over the hill or whatever, that she needs a target to hit. Are you aware of that? Is there anything that can be done to?
But is there actually very little can be done? We've stopped her on occasion and told her she has to go have her wheelchair against traffic. She's a pedestrian. She's very compliant with us. You know, we've asked her on several occasions, do you want us to take you back? We know where she lives. As a matter of fact, the one citizen assist or the one referral I did was her, and referral to other agencies was her. She's very compliant with us. She doesn't give us a hard time. But she doesn't want any help either. And as far as breaking the law, she's really not breaking the law. So there's very little we can do other than just continue to ask her if she needs any help. Continue to make sure she's walking against traffic or rolling her wheelchair against traffic. I wish, you know, she has to stay on the sidewalk. Obviously, if there's sidewalks available, she can't be on the road, but where there's no sidewalks available, she has to go against traffic.
Where does she live?
She lives at the Sunshine Motel.
Okay. So she's going like from the post office?
She goes all the way down to truck stops. She'll be on 224. We'll get calls on her on 224.
Wow.
Yeah, Greenwich Road, she comes up. At one point, she was on the golf course, and there was a little bit of an issue with that. I never got a call on that. They told me they were going to call me, but I never did receive the call on that. But other than that, there hasn't been much of an issue. So I understand the safety concern. I'm as concerned as everybody else. You know, I've tried, even on 224, I said, you know, I'll give you a ride. And she said, you're going the wrong way. I said, I can turn around. It's not a problem. And she said, nope, I like to hike. And she's not breaking the law, so I can't enforce anything. So it's more or less just, okay, be careful. And off she goes. She does not want our help.
Did she have a mental disability?
I believe so. I mean, I don't know. I can tell you the agency that I referred on that to was very familiar with her and has spoken with her in the past several times.
Was that MRDD?
No, it's alternative paths. So,
I mean, somebody's gonna come flying up through there.
that's
everybody, I think everybody I've talked to, they're just concerned for her. There's a community concern there.
when I stopped her on 224, she was heading to the truck stops with $7 to get groceries. And, you know, I've been over to her residence over there. I've talked to her landlord. When I was at her residence, it's very sparse, but she was eating. I saw signs that she was eating. And I was basically told calls if there's any other problems, so.
She was doing this only in the daytime, I hope.
I haven't gotten it. I've received no calls after dark.
Wow.
We have. Have you? Okay, so the fire chief just told me they've had calls after sunset. I have not.
Questions for the chief beyond that?
Good report.
Good, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Chief Hall.
Excuse me, monthly activity report for June, we had a total of 56 runs, 32 to the township, 14 to the village, 1 to Wadsworth Township, 5 to Lodi, and 4 to Seville. Of those, 40 were during day shift hours from 08 to 8 PM. And 16 were from 8 P to 8 A. Again, we gave mutual aid 10 times. We only received it 3 times. Department updates. If you look at the EMS billing, I know last month the report should have said something, no report available. $66,134.80 was billed out, but that was not all for June. That was for May and June. So they just lumped it all into June though. Cost recovery, which is our MVA and fire billing, we've to date have billed out $18,513.37. And unfortunately, I've only received $745.62 for reimbursement. We had 26 resident transports, 8 non-resident transports. Just under some general, we participated in Cloverleaf Safety City at the elementary school on June 4th and 6th. We displayed our apparatus along with the other departments in the Cloverleaf district, and as well as some of the police departments. Completed 14 fire inspections in June. And then under equipment, it's been a rough month for the fire apparatus. We've pretty much consumed all of our line items for both pieces of fire apparatus for repairs. Everything right now is up and running efficiently, but hopefully nothing else happens the rest of the year. And then we will be swearing in 2 new members at the July 7th meeting of the township. They already come to us trained. And an update on the grants, we just received $3,434.83 for the EMS reimbursement grant. And that's used to purchase equipment. And then we submit our receipts and they pay us that money back. So that's all I have for the report, unless council has anything for me.
Chief, what is, pardon my ignorance, but what is the acronym RIT stand for?
I'm sorry?
RIT equipment. What is?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's a rapid intervention team. Specialized training for firefighters. Should a firefighter ever go down in a burning building, that's what, there's a special air pack and mask for that down firefighter. So we're able to, yes, my apologies on that. And then the only thing I want to say, I applaud council. I know you have a wonderful fiscal officer now and you're getting another one. I'm gonna miss her at the township, but luckily I'll still be able to see her here, but I think she's gonna do really well for all of you. So great job on that selection.
Thank you. We think so too.
Chief, with these 2 new members, what are we up to now, total members?
These are replacements. So this is gonna bring us up to 23. We have room for 24. So this is just replacing people that have moved on and stuff like that. So. Thank you.
Questions for the chief? Thank you. Mr. Pittsburgh.
June's report, we processed 4.37 million gallons of wastewater. The monthly EPA reports. All required operational testing, routine equipment maintenance, and we had a EPA sludge inspection. Here at Village Hall, we serviced a generator and conducted shred day. In the streets, we mowed all the village properties. Cemetery, we removed the flags from the veterans' grave after Memorial Day, conducted 1 burial. The parks, we continue to prep ball fields. And zoning, attended the BZA meeting and issued permits.
Question for Dave.
Dave, I have one, had someone comment to me about, I'm gonna have to refer to it as Tony Rossi's driveway. Somewhere in that area on Highland, the sidewalk is got a really bad hump in it.
It does from the tree road.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is that our issue or their issue?
Well, we take care of the site. I mean, come on.
We take care of the sidewalk, but I can tell you, if we take care of that tree is gonna die. Without a doubt.
So Tony would have to decide.
Well, it's not, is it a tree in the, Tony, it's not Tony, he doesn't live there anymore. But, is the damage caused by a village tree or a residence tree?
It would be a village tree.
Well, I don't know how bad it is. I haven't seen it, but you have that all over town. We're getting more and more of it because those trees are growing more and more. So
It's by far the worst spot in town is.
Yeah,
being a tow truck.
I was out walking the other day. I remember somewhere in town, and then I had somebody mention it to me today and said, you know, and so I thought, hey, perfect timing.
It's gonna take some collaboration in those situations between us and the resident. Because the resident has to understand if we repair the sidewalk, we're gonna lose a tree. If they're
Yeah, but it's our tree.
they like our trees. So.
Yeah, I know.
The point is,
We'll take
to be a good neighbor, you know, we would need to come to an agreement with them on as to what we're gonna do.
We can talk to them and basically say we can fix this at the risk of the tree and see what happens to it.
Yeah, it's a tree from tree. I didn't know. I just.
Will we replace the tree or is there kind of?
Our policy is not to replace any trees. We got away from that probably, what, 15 years ago?
Yeah. That was still there.
Yeah.
We will remove them from the tree lawn if the homeowner requests it.
Where do you leave trimming the trees? From our last meeting, because
Dave's people were,
then and now, we've had a couple limbs getting taken off by some trucks.
well, we weren't gonna be doing, Dave was gonna raise, people were gonna raise them, but we weren't gonna get into the massive costs of pruning all those trees.
Have you?
We started, but we're nowhere near finished.
That's a big job in itself, just to raise them.
So we're working on that.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, well, let's see what we can do about that big hump. If it's the worst one in the village. You guys,
I'd say we take the sidewalks and move the sidewalks.
Yeah,
if the tree is that-
we're
that's
gonna
nice.
have to collaborate with the homeowner.
Right.
And determine what their wishes are. If they don't care if the tree, I agree with you, Bit. From a public safety standpoint, the sidewalk should be flat and free of trip hazards, but in a case like this, you know, if the homeowner wants the tree saved, they're gonna have to put up with an uneven sidewalk. If they're willing to risk the tree dying, then we can fix the sidewalk or reroute the sidewalk, and if the tree dies, then
And that was probably one of
take
the
it down.
first trees that was planted when they actually created that.
yeah, Highlands.
Started. You're gonna have the same problem going all the way down Grand Drive with all those big maple trees.
Oh, yeah. You're gonna have some of it on North Road too, same thing.
I mean, Grand Drive is a complete canopy now.
Well, talk with him, Dave, see what he wants, and we'll go from there. It's probably not gonna cost you $1 million to take that sidewalk out. And I guess at that point, you need to ask him, you might as well just take the tree out if it's gonna die. See what he says. Okay. All right. Okay, mayor's report, no tickets, court action this month. Communications, they're in there, there's the emails back and forth with Nick Everett and the emails with the neighbor next to the construction up there with his concerns about the dust, et cetera. And I forwarded that all on to Kirk Berry, who said they were gonna make a contact with him and see what they could do for him. So I think that, and any of this stuff I get that with construction or anything in a golf course, it all goes directly to Kirk Berry. And he decides whether, what he wants to do, unless it's village business. And, but usually it's, they send it to us because they don't know to send it to them. And so we get it and then we send it on. I had one other thing. Dave and I been talking about the roof on the firehouse, and it's not the firehouse, the old firehouse. I asked him to put together what it's gonna take for our meeting this fall, because it's leaking and it's gonna have to be addressed. So, and it's gonna be a pretty good hit. So I just.
The flat section.
Law director is not here. Council comments and concerns. Mr. Bittner,
I voiced mine already.
Mrs. Connick,
Ditto.
Nab is not here. Mr. Oakes,
I have nothing.
Mr. Robbs.
Do you want to bring council up to speed on when we met with the trustees a couple weeks ago?
Go ahead. You're the main cog in the wheel on fire.
So Tom and I had the opportunity to meet with the three trustees about their plans for November with the upcoming fire levy. And they haven't made a decision yet, but what they're leaning towards, and they were going to talk with the prosecutor's office and some other folks. But they're leaning towards a EMS levy instead of a quote, fire levy. And that would be 2.5 mil.
1.5.
Or 1.5, yeah, 1.5. And it would be used for EMS type services. And what that would do is kind of offset, and they could take the money that is typically going towards EMS services and kind of just help it balance the budget out and stuff like that. So they haven't made a final decision. They have till August, but that's kind of where they're leaning towards. And both Craig and Mike Schmidt are running for reelection.
And that was a 5-year, I think they were looking.
Yeah, 5-year renewable. So,
And it sounded like that was what is gonna be.
yeah, so
Not final, but
what we asked them is once you make your final decision, just let us know so we can.
How does that, what
This
does
is
that
for the
correlate to
November
us
election.
from dollars and cents?
it was said that-
130.
The other one was 150, right?
It was about, I think it was 145. Wasn't, I thought we figured it was right about
Almost matches what we're paying.
145, because right now we're at an effective 1.6 with the 2.5 that we have. So because it was so long ago, so at an effective 1.6, if we put a 1.5 on, it's not far off from where you are right now.
Yeah. It'll about double what we pay. I
Okay.
guess that's the way to.
That's 4 months, is it? I mean, has there been any discussion on the campaign strategy or anything like that along with this, chief?
Great. Comment on that?
I kind of posed that question. I mean, and the one, it kind of frustrated me because they said, they're limited on what they can do to support. What they can do towards this campaign, and I'm like, no, that's not right. I mean, you guys have to lead this campaign, and it's just, I made a suggestion. I said, you guys need to get the entire department on board with this and go to the meetings, go to the association meetings and stuff like that. don't. I just-
Well, and Melissa read them off a little bit. Not really, but she made that suggestion very
I hope it
strongly.
works out for you, chief, but it sounds like it could be Groundhog Day.
Yeah, I think they weren't too happy by the time, they weren't happy with me, I can assure you, by the time the meeting was over, but I held pretty strongly to, you know, what I felt they needed to do.
Terry Grimm is out. I mean,
Yeah, she's
we
not.
brought up, well, maybe Terry would be, you know, I just like.
I knew she
I
was
can tell you that.
she was
for sure.
frustrated last time.
So. Yeah, I don't know what their plans are as far as, you know,
Okay,
that's all.
enough on that one, I guess. Mr. Walker? Next meeting is August 5. Executive session. Your motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.